Well, good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of the Llama Commerce Show, where we are demystifying e-commerce into digestible, actionable bites. I'm Brett Curry, lead strategist at Classy Llama.
And I'm Kurt Theobald, CEO at Classy Llama. And today we are here with a very special guest, and that is Ott, our one-armed table tennis trophy player.
It really wouldn't be the Llama Commerce Show without Ott.
That's true. He's our regular guest because he inspires us to be stronger, considering he still stands on this pedestal, even though his arm broke off in a tragic table tennis game.
I think he's our #1 fan as well.
I agree. Maybe our only fan, but that would also make #1.
Yes, yes.
But anyway, as with every show, we're going to hand this out at the end to the person that adds the most value, and that usually is our other special guest, because we feel bad for them for having to put up with us for 15 to 30 minutes. But this morning, that is Jessica Hardecke from Shipworks, and Jessica's here to enlighten us on the challenges of shipping and how to overcome those challenges, hopefully. So Jessica, welcome to the show. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be here.
And Jessica is hailing from one of our favorite cities, one of the fine cities in the state of Missouri, and that's St. Louis. Gateway to the West, as they say. Now, Jessica, what we'd like to do, this will not benefit our podcast listeners at all, but those that are watching the show, can you give us just a peek of that sweet view you have out of the top floor of your building, looking right at the arch? So you're going to have to navigate through your office. We'll talk about shipping as you go, but I think for those that are watching the video, this is going to be worth it.
So get this. If you go up in the arch and you look out from the arch, you know, you can do the whole trip up in the arch, and you look out, you will see Shipworks on the side of this building because they like have the penthouse suite office. And for all of you podcasters out there, you cannot see what's happening, but I just want you to know it is amazing. So just absorb it through your audio lens. The amazingness that's happening right now. Look at the view. There's the arch, clouds in the background, sun shining through, glistening onto the top of the arch. Absorb that through your ears.
So much history.
All you podcasters.
Lewis and Clark, you know, all kinds of exploration things are popping into my head right now.
Thank you, history professor. This is magical. Thank you so much for making that possible, Jessica. I guess you can go back to the office now, so we can actually.
Yeah, that's really good.
Do something worthwhile.
So as we're talking about shipping, man, it's one of those areas where there could be arguably more fun or sexier things to talk about when it comes to e-commerce. But I don't know that you could talk about anything more necessary, right? Without good shipping management, you've got no business, basically.
Unless you have digital products, but I'm not going to bring that up right now.
Of course. You're selling physical goods, which we assume that you are in some capacity. Yeah, then you've got to handle shipping. And, you know, the beautiful part about it is if you've got the right system, shipping should just kind of run without a whole lot of time and effort and energy on the owner's part. If it's not going correctly, then it could probably become all-consuming.
A nightmare.
Yeah, well, that's all you're thinking about.
We have seen so many shipping nightmare situations,
and
it can just be this beast. And the thing is, just like technology, if it gets in your way, it takes away from your ability to focus on your core business and on your customers.
Then all the joy of running an e-commerce business is gone.
Exactly.
You're just thinking about shipping.
So, Jessica, what we want to hear from you first is let's start talking through and digesting, like, what are the primary challenges that people face. And how have you seen them overcome those challenges? So maybe we can just start with one key thing that
a shipping hurdle, if you will.
Yeah, that people are facing.
Well, I think you guys nailed it just at the beginning. Just that people don't even know that shipping is going to be tough. You know, like you start your store and you're just all about getting.
FedEx will handle that.
Yeah, I'll pop it in a box. And where's my stamp?
You just take it to the post office, throw a stamp on it, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I got to get this package to a customer. And so the biggest thing that people tell us when they come to us is that it's just so time-consuming. And it is. If you do it the traditional way of sticking a stamp on it, going to your post office, you know, whatever, having them weigh it, doing it that way, it is unbelievably time-consuming. And it hinders you selling more because you can't ship more. So you know there's this barrier. Until you can figure out shipping, you really can't, you know, sell too many items in a day because you can't get them out the door.
And what's really important to think about when it comes to shipping is not only is it time-consuming and it's obviously necessary, but I think it can serve a bigger role than just getting products to a customer. And I may be jumping ahead just a little bit, but you could also view this as really supporting your overall mission and also marketing. You know, if you look at, there are a lot of companies that view quick ship time as part of their experience, part of their marketing. And really it's what delights the customer. So it can either be this unwieldy thing that takes up all your time and you're not giving that experience to a customer, or it can be smooth and can add to the value proposition. So time consuming, that doesn't sound fun. We want to eliminate that.
So Jessica, like how do people like solve that problem because it's so time consuming? Am I getting ahead of the game here? But I mean, I'm curious, like what can we do to help them solve that problem?
Sure. So there's a lot of different things. I mean, the basics is just kind of getting organized, having your shipping supplies nearby, because when you're just getting started, you're running to the office store to buy a box or something, and making sure you have that stuff in bulk nearby, whatever sizes you're going to ship, so it streamlines it all. And then as you progress, it's, doing things like buying, as silly as it sounds, buying adhesive labels instead of using tape, and printing and cutting a label off of your printer, which is how normally people get started. And then eventually it escalates up to things like shipping software, which of course, is near and dear to my heart. But that's where your time savings can really start. But you can even do it at those basic levels as well, just being organized. Another thing that customers, like you were pointing out, is that customers want to be able to give our customers, and e-commerce merchants want to be able to give their customers that great seamless experience, be it through fast shipping times or free shipping, things like that. And to accomplish those goals, you got to be able to figure out how to streamline your shipping process so that it's less cumbersome for you, and then you can give that customer that you're selling to this great rewarding experience. So it's that Achilles heel that you don't think about when you're getting started, but it truly becomes one until you figure out your processes.
Yeah, I think anytime I think about something that has to be done over and over and over again, that's a repeatable thing in your business, there's three things that can be built. And sometimes you need the people. Usually you're going to have some human element touching it, but it can be taken care of with just a process and people. But at some point in time, you got to have that system piece. And the difference for those of you who are like, well, a system and a process, what's the difference between those two? When I say system, it's just a word that we use that means like an actual piece of like information technology or an existing piece of software out there, whereas a process is a documented series of steps that you take that you're going to do over and over and over again, and then you get in there and you can get to optimizing it like you're talking about. Your initial process might look like, print it out, cut it, and then tape it to the thing, to the box or whatever, and then it's like, well, wait a minute, we can like make that more efficient. We've got enough volume of shipping where we need to make the self-adhesive, prints where it prints out automatically, pre-cut, self-adhesive. You get it on there, and that's all part of the scale. Is if you try to like optimize your and sophisticate your shipping foundation to where you can handle 1,000 orders a day when you're only doing 5 orders a day, you've wasted a bunch of time. You have to walk in step with the scale, with your scaling, which again, I'm probably getting ahead of things we're going to talk about later, but I'm not trying to. But regardless, I think we can think about this in the frame of like systems, processes, and people, and how they work together to solve the shipping equation. So Jessica, what else? Okay, so it's time consuming. What else are the hurdles they have to clear?
So another big one we always hear about is cost. So when you get started, you always think, again, you're taking a box to the post office, and you're going to pay retail rates for that, or you're taking a box to UPS or FedEx, wherever you're going. But there's actually additional shipping carriers that people don't normally know about. So there's Indicia, and there's Express One, and there's Stamps, and there's regional carriers that can all bring your costs down. So now you can maybe offer free shipping to your customers, or you can get it to your customers faster for less than your competitors. So it's this great opportunity for you to expand your business. But again, when you're just getting started, you don't even know those things exist. So cost is one that the hurdle you can overcome a lot of times is just by homework and research and going out there and getting knowledgeable through Google searches and just spending a little bit of time to figure that out, and then it pays huge dividends in the long run.
So maybe explain, like, let's say I'm a merchant and I have a number of products, and what you just said is really interesting to me, but I'm like, okay, I'm overwhelmed already because I'm thinking, I'm thinking, what, Stamps.com, like, how do I get plugged into that? And these others, how do you get plugged into all of these different carriers? And then how do you make it to where the right product gets shipped with the right carrier? Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So, well, the easiest way is, of course, to go with the shipping software, or somebody else, whomever. But because we'll show you the rates of all the different carriers, we'll point it out, we'll tell you if you ship this box and it's this size and you're going to this destination, this is what it's going to cost with these different carriers. So that's the easiest way of all. If you don't want to go that way initially, totally get that. Then your other option is to go to the various websites, and assuming that most of your shipments are pretty much the same, so you're always sending out, let's say, cell phones. Then you can do some homework on whatever day you want to do it on and figure out, okay, if I ship this product to this destination in this type of a box every time, this, kind of set some standards and some similarities, then it's going to cost this much with FedEx and this much with UPS and this much with USPS, and you do your own cost analysis and you figure it out.
Which you can do when you're shipping consistently the same weight and size of shipment.
Yes, and it's time consuming that first time around, and it's not going to be fun, I'm going to be honest, that first time around. But after that, then you know what it is, and you just use it. You know what I mean? You establish your process again.
So just so our users understand, specifically with Shipworks, is that where you're helping the end users understand that are on the site understand how much their costs are going to be? Or once the order's been placed, you're helping on the back end side, you're helping the administrator know, the logistics team know which carrier to ship it through. Are you helping on one side or the other, or both?
Both. So okay. What we're doing is we're downloading your orders from Magento, let's say, into our software. We'll show you all of those orders, and then as you indicate where they're going to be shipped to, like who your customer is, we'll show you the package rate, like what it would cost for the various carriers, and then with a click of a button, you print that shipping label, you print a pick list, an invoice, all of that with your branding on it to make it look consistent, and we send it out. Like, you'll print the label, you send it out, life is good, you can send tracking numbers to your customers, all of that. So we do both sides of that, but when people are just getting started, we totally get that they might not be at that stage yet, and they might not want to go that route. That's totally cool. We're still here to help them just figure out the whole shipping thing, because shipping can be complicated without you knowing it.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a couple of really important things, cost being one of them, right? Everybody wants to save cost, and that's a huge part of gaining profitability, obviously. But also can give you a competitive advantage, because so much of how people decide where they're going to buy, how they're going to buy, shipping does play into that.
One of the major drivers of shopping cart abandonment is shipping costs.
Yeah, put something in the cart, and holy cow.
They get the calculator and like, oh man, I didn't know it was going to cost that much. Yeah.
Wait and buy it locally.
Yeah, absolutely. So having the most competitive, having those different carriers as options for you is it can be a cost saver for the end user, and therefore a conversion tool for you as the merchant. So that brings me to a really key question. Give us an idea. I mean, all shipping software packages or offerings are different, but let's talk about Shipworks specifically. What's the pricing look like? Where's that level of scale where you think it starts to become a fit, and how do you charge merchants? I know everyone hears what you say, they're like, oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, I want that. So okay, so what's it going to cost me?
Sure. So for Shipworks, and actually most of our competitors too, it's a monthly plan. There's not usually a contract, so you can start, try for 30 days, cancel, all that kind of good stuff. Specifically for Shipworks, it's $14.95 a month if you're going to ship 0 to 99 packages, and then it is for 100 to 999 packages, it's $29.95 a month, and then 1,000 on up, so an unlimited number of packages you're going to send a month, it's $49.95. So it's pretty.
We're talking $49.95 per month, not $4,995 a month, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear about that. That sounds very reasonable.
Sounds very reasonable. Yeah.
So it's pretty reasonable, and it streamlines everything, and you save a couple hours. So like, I was talking to a customer earlier this morning, and he indicated, pre-Shipworks his life, he would spend about 5 to 6 hours a day shipping about 150 products a day. Now, post-Shipworks, yesterday he told me he shipped about 175 products out the door, and it took him an hour and 15 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got a friend.
Yes.
I have a friend that I constantly tell him they need to incorporate more software, maybe get an ERP set up. They're really gaining traction online, but they spend so much of their time with order processing and shipping, and I'm like, man, you do know how much more volume you could do if you weren't focused on doing all of that? Not to mention the guy manufactures most of everything, but regardless, I'm thinking my mind is going, ding, 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 when I'm thinking about this guy, and like,
automate.
I'm like, gonna check some happens. I'm like, Shipworks, you need to check this out, or like automate that. I'm thinking $20 a month. For him, it might be, might be a higher tier. I expect it would be a little bit higher, but regardless, $50 a month. It's like, how much time does that save you? It's going to be hours per week, easily hours per week, maybe hours per day, and that's huge savings for a manager, logistics manager. So anyway, I think that's fantastic. So any other hurdles that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I think some of the next hurdles are like scalability. And just so, I mean, your business is going to grow. At least that's the ultimate goal. So whatever process you set in place now, you need to make sure that it's scalable. So you need to be thinking, even as you're figuring out what products you're going to sell. Will it fit in the same type of box? Do all of the products, are they compatible with one type of a shipping box so that I only have to store and stock that one type of a box? Or do I need 3 types of boxes? Or what do I need? Some of those basic questions you just don't think about. You kind of need to stop and say, okay, how do I get this to the end customer? And then from there, you can kind of start to back up and make those decisions of, is this a good product to stock, or is it not, or is it worth it if it's a one-off and it requires, a pallet to move? Like, what is value or not value?
Yeah, and I think as you go through the scaling process, I think it's so easy. I hear this from a lot of young merchants out there that are just getting started. They're just going through the scaling process. Anytime they hear about a service like Shipworks or honestly a lot of other different kinds of applications that create efficiency, they're like, well, I can do that myself. I'll figure that out myself. And I really appreciate the energy around that. But
that's being an entrepreneur.
That's being an entrepreneur. That's right. I remember. I mean, I was like, forget that. I'm not paying $50 a month for that. I want to go figure it out myself. But the thing is, and what I constantly say on the show, what we constantly pound is that you've got to focus on your core business, not on the ancillary things. Find partners to do that. And I'm thinking, imagine if you're doing, decent volume. Let's say you have a business that's doing more than $50,000 in annual volume. You need to start recognizing that your time has real value, and it's not just value what it's valued today. It's if you were to invest that in moving your business forward. It's the what's that word? Einstein always said he was blown away by the exponential value of return on investment, compound interest.
Compound interest. Yeah.
Time has a compound interest return on it, and so if you're investing that time now in building your business, you're going to have a compounded interest return. If you're doing it on things that don't have a future return, like shipping that box, then you're not going to have that compounded return on that time investment. So think about it from that perspective, and let's just recognize maybe it's $30 an hour. Well, how many hours is it going to take you to figure this thing out by yourself? And you're not going to get it as solid and clean as something like Shipworks. So
that's all you guys do.
So it's going to take you 10 hours at least 10 hours to figure this thing out in the network, plus all the additional inefficiencies. There's no way you're going to match a team that's focused on making it efficient like this. And trust me, I get nothing out of people working with Shipworks, just to be clear. I don't think we have any partnership with them as an agency. Maybe we should, but we don't now.
We would like a T-shirt.
So this is just, I'm just saying.
Or a tour, something.
Yeah, that's true.
T-shirts.
We should get a T-shirt because of how happy I am about the idea of using something like Shipworks. But anyway, 10 hours, that's $300. And then beyond that, I mean, how much inefficiency will still be there?
Sure.
You're talking about hours still, let's say, per month. You're going to lose money off the deal.
Yeah, and your ability to grow as a merchant, your ability to reach your full potential, your store's full potential, is not just about marketing and having a great product and some of those things that are fun to talk about. It's also about, do you have the back end that will scale and support growth and not let things fall through the cracks? And
more than ever, what we hear people say is, I'm stressing out because my back end and my systems and my processes and my team, they're not ready to grow with the orders that I have. And I tell you what, that lurching effect in the business is really, really detrimental to growth. And I'm all for growing at a measured pace. I think it's healthy and whatever. But as much as possible, get the hurdles out of the way. And shipping is definitely one of those hurdles. So we're not just talking about the challenges that you're going to face now, but you're going to spend that 10-hour investment again. Let's just say 10 hours arbitrarily. You're going to spend that 10-hour investment again in a year when your sales have doubled or tripled. And now you got to do it all over again. And so Shipworks and those other pieces of software like that can scale with your business, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you get to a new echelon of complexity. I mean, am I going too far there?
No, you're doing awesome. Commercial.
Jessica's sitting back. She's like,
would you like to hire
going.
No, it's great. No, and the other piece of all that,
right? Helps build the machine that's going to run your business. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jessica.
No, you guys you're hitting the head on the nail, so it's awesome. But the other piece of that retailers always want is they want to give that awesome customer service, and so you want that wow moment when somebody opens the box. You want a wow moment when they're on your website, you know, buying something, but that continues all the way to opening the box. And how do you achieve that? And so if you just slap a product in a box and, you know, cut out your label and use tape to tape it on there, it looks pretty sloppy, pretty awful. And that wow moment when you get it isn't there. And so you got to figure out how to achieve that. And so we can help you do that. Other people can help you do that. But that's the end goal, is just figuring out how to give those moments through the whole entire process so they come back to you and order again.
Yep, absolutely. I know Procter & Gamble talks about the first moment of truth with a product and the second moment of truth with a product. And then Google's actually kind of reinvented that and said there's now a 0 moment of truth. The first moment of truth is in the olden days when you're in the store looking at the aisle, you're looking at the different packaging, you're choosing the product. The second moment of truth is when you're in your home or wherever and you're using the product. Well, with an online purchase, that first moment of truth is when you're shopping on the store, right? And then the second moment of truth is when you get the package and start using it. And it's not just about how the product works. That presentation, the process of opening the box, seeing the packaging, that really sets the tone. I mean, I remember getting a product that I was really excited about, and I had the hardest time opening it. Like I got so frustrated.
I was just talking about packaging the other day, and there's like this plastic thing, and it's like all perforated all the way around, and it's like sealed shut with plastic, and it's like I'm like trying to get it open, and I'm like tearing it with my teeth, and then my teeth are hurting, and it's like freaking me out. Well, that was my second moment of, what did you call it?
Second moment of truth.
My second moment of truth. I will say there's a third moment when they actually get it open and then experience the product. Yes. So I just want to be clear. I just coined a new term. Google has a zeroth moment of truth.
Third moment of truth.
First moment, second moment, and I just did third moment of truth. Trademark or copyright or whatever I need to say.
TM.
Done.
Just
TM. Okay. So anyway, that's official. Okay. So anyway, regardless, I think that brings us into a really important part of the shipping process, though, and that is like merchants out there get calls all the time about in the between the first and second moment of truth, you're getting calls about where's my package at, when is it going to be here, because people are impatient and they're like super excited about this thing they're going to get and they want to know where it's at. And so I mean, I can't imagine how many customer calls come out of that, and that is like a critical moment. Let's call it the 1.5 moment of truth. I just coined that right there. Man. Boom! Really? Boom! Explosive things happening on the Llama Commerce Show today.
This is a historic call.
So in the 1.5 moment of truth is an amazing opportunity and touch point to create more value in the relationship and build a relationship when they call in, or it's a great opportunity to fall flat on your face and look like an idiot and make all of your customers hate you. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So talk about that a little bit.
It's so
funny. Start using that in your promotion material, Jessica. Do you want people to hate you? No. Then use us.
And so the customer that I referred to earlier, he was actually talking about this exact scenario. And he was talking about how customers used to call and say, hey, where's my tracking number, all this kind of stuff. And he's like, what I used to have to do is go through reams of paper trying to find that tracking number that I printed, that I supposedly put in alphabetical order, that he never did. And you're trying to find that. And he's like, and now all I do is I go to your system and I type in their last name and it brings up all the people, you know, like all the Smiths. And he's like, if it's a common name, he's like, the worst thing is that I have to figure it out by city and state to match it up. He's like, but if it's a unique name, he's like, it's no problem. It's just there and I tell them what they want to know and it's a 20-second phone call. So it was mind, like just revolutionary to him. It just blew his mind that it was that easy. But
in 20-second calls, merchants and customers really like 20-second calls.
Definitely.
Those are great.
Definitely.
Or even not having to call. So like with our system and others too, it'll automatically send an email to the customer. So when the package ships, there's an email that goes out. Here's your tracking number. Here's when it's going to arrive. And then the customer never calls because really, as a customer, do we want to call the person we just ordered from? Not really.
And that actually brings me to another question about Shipworks, and that is like integrations with existing platforms that are out there, because that's really important to get those automatic emails to be able to log into your account and see where it's at, and you know the updating of statuses and that sort of thing. Like, talk through that. How well is Shipworks integrated into the platforms, and how accessible is that to a user of an existing platform?
Yeah, so we're integrated with 40+ platforms. So of course Magento, the Go and Enterprise version, and then a host of others, and then all the major shipping carriers. So we kind of just are the go-between all the shipping carriers and all the various platforms out there.
Yeah, so I mean, an integration, just so merchants that are listening and watching, you need to really look at what are all the integration points, because you hear like it's integrated, and then normally what the merchant does in their own mind is that you're going to go, oh, that means it does all the things that I want it to, and that it integrates exactly like I need it to, and then it's going to output all the information. So it's integrated. Okay, good, we got it integrated. That's solid. But you actually need to look in and see what are my needs, how is it integrated specifically with my platform, and what's the flexibility and the robustness of that integration, because that will matter. But Shipworks, I mean, I know you guys have been, we did a blog article on Shipworks to Magento, I don't know, a couple of years ago. So you guys have been playing in the Magento field at least for quite some time. That's a pretty big segment of the market. So yeah, I mean, that's just something that's a call to the merchants out there. Make sure you look at what the integration actually looks like before imagining all of the great things it's going to do for you, so you don't get slapped by reality when it really hits you.
Yeah.
But outside of that, let's talk about another thing that a lot of time upsets merchants with expectations, and that is configuration. Like you want to adopt something like Shipworks, or what does it look like with let's say specifically Shipworks, since that's you know that. What does it look like to configure it initially? How much work and effort is it? Are there costs associated with that? Do I have to be really technically savvy in order to do it? Give us a little bit of context for that.
So it's really easy. We walk you through it through numerous tutorials and videos and such on our website. Or if you want us to do it for you, we can do that too. With
for a fee, if we wanted to do it for,
we'll do it for you for about $50. And then it's
$50 to set it up. What are you guys? Do you underpay your people at Shipworks?
Yeah.
You pay them less than minimum wage?
No.
Do you guys have child labor in your office in St. Louis?
They have a view of the arch in their office. They don't have to
work with you. But no, you can set it up for yourself extremely easily as well. So it's kind of up to you on, entrepreneurs like to do things themselves. We recognize that. So if you want to go for it on your own, that's awesome. If you get stopped along the way, let us know. We have free customer support. We're here to help you out. But if you want us to do it all for you too, we can do that too.
Okay, so here's the thing. I just want to make a really important point, because Jessica says it's easy, right? And everybody says it's easy to configure something. But here's why I know that she's actually telling the truth, because I feel very confident that Shipworks is not employing children in their office and paying them less than minimum wage. I think that it's actually true that they're able to run a profitable business by doing setups for $50. And if you can do a setup, a great way to find out how hard it is actually to configure something, ask how much the setup fee is. I know a lot of the software, it's like thousands of dollars. Well, Shipworks will do it for you for $50. Means you can probably do it by yourself pretty darn easily. So I think the proof is in the pudding right there. Unless that's your one day only discount in order to get everybody in the door, and you're actually doing a bait and switch, which would be just like Shipworks, by the way. They're so bait and switch.
That's the classy Llama video special right there, $50.
Sweet, we like that.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, that's proof in the pudding.
Yeah, most of our customers do it on their own. So I mean, it really is easy. But again, if you're not tech savvy, you don't want to do it on your own, you don't want to read through the tutorials on our website, we get that. So we're here to help. So
right, which that would be, by the way, I would do that. I would pay you $50 because that's ridiculously cheap.
Totally
I don't get to watch a bunch of tutorials and watch. I hate step-by-step. So great, you guys do it for $50. It blows me away. So I just want to step back a little bit. And I'm the kind of guy that always assumes that all of my problems are going to be solved by any software that I buy. That's why I have to talk to my technical team, and they're like, "No, Kurt, no, it doesn't actually." I
still have to come to the office.
Birth a unicorn for you. It doesn't do that. So I'm just going to try to get this straight. You're saying that with something like, let's say, Shipworks, you can sign up for somewhere between $20 and $50 a month, and I know I'm not doing the $49.95 or whatever it is, but it's $20 to $50. And you're going to connect me to all the major carriers, and chances are I'm probably on a platform that you support, and again, support in what way, that would need to be figured out. And that means that not only are my users going to get the best price possible, but also I'm going to be supported in most efficient shipping, packaging, printing of my labels and all that stuff in the back office as well, and you'll set it up for me for $50.
Yes, and on top of all that, I'm going to save you 3 to 5 hours a day, so that you can then go use your skills to go do marketing and get more sales and make more money. So And all
Are you sales pitching us? I feel like we're being pitched right now. No, here's the deal. Listen, like the Llama Commerce Show is not a pitching platform. So when I talk about Shipworks like this, like I'm just learning this stuff. I didn't know the pricing model of Shipworks, so I'm kind of blown away right now.
Much slower than
and so this endorsement is authentic. Like I mean what I'm saying right now. I'm really excited. Look, if you can look at my face, look at it. I am so serious. I'm so excited.
Or look at his voice if you're listening to the podcast.
Right? I'm not very good at speaking passionate about things that I'm actually excited about. So you know this is legit.
It's legit. It is the real deal, as they like to say.
So do we have anything else to talk about?
I don't think so. Any other?
I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
We did cover a lot of ground. I mean, ultimately, and one quick thing that we did mention, you know, that idea of when you get the thing you ordered, there's something very emotional about that. I know for a lot of people, it's seeing the UPS truck or the FedEx truck or even the UPS or USPS, seeing them pull up in front of your house and come carrying this brown box or white box.
It's kind of like your door.
It's kind of like Christmas and your birthday. You know, little hints of both of those things. So why not make the process smooth for you, really enjoyable for the customer, and kind of bring the joy back to running an e-commerce business?
You know what I always write? Speaking of that, into the special comments, like when there's special delivery instructions. I always ask them to give a high five to the recipient. Like, can you please high five the recipient? I mean, how cool would that be? Is every time you get a package, it's like, boom, yeah, got it, ship that one.
That would be awesome.
I would love that.
High five or even a hug if there's something really cool.
I actually have asked them to give a hug as well, depending on how I feel about the other person. But anyway, so if you want to do that as well, maybe Shipworks can help you with that.
So, Jessica, how can people find out more about Shipworks? If they're interested, if they want to find out more, what do you suggest they do?
Sure, the easiest way is just off of our website, so shipworks.com. Pretty
or
easy.
Or they can drive to St. Louis.
They can drive to St. Louis, and we're always happy to give them a tour of the office. And, you know, we have video games here, all kinds of stuff. So video games on us. We'll show you the art, all that good stuff. So you're always welcome as well. So that'd be fun to have you up here. But website is usually the best.
Okay, so no like text messaging you directly, or you don't want them to do any of that. They should just go to the website then.
Well, website, of course, I mean, we're on all the normal channels, so Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. But if I'm going for one point of contact here.
All right. So word to all the merchants out there: do not text Jessica directly. If you want Shipworks, you need to go to shipworks.com or one of the other social media but probably shipworks.com, my guess, is probably the best place to go to get information about Shipworks. It makes a lot of sense now that I think about that out loud.
I think it works.
So anyway, it's time to award OTT to Jessica purely as an obligatory award. You don't get to keep it. You don't even get to touch it. We're not going to send it to you. We're going to put it back on the shelf after this.
But how does it feel, Jessica?
But you do win it.
This,
absolutely awesome. I feel like I should be thanking the Academy. It's wonderful.
You should be. You should be thanking us for the Academy.
It's that big of a deal.
It's a big deal.
It's pretty cool.
Okay. So fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us. This was great, Jessica. And as always, we'd love to hear your feedback out there. If you listen to the podcast, watching the video, let us know what you think. What other topics do you want us to cover? If you have feedback for Jessica or this topic specifically, let us know.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we need to say, stay classy. Stop it. Turn it off. Quick. Stop the broadcast. Turn it off.